Good morning. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church in Springfield. For over 200 years, we have been preaching love and the free and responsible search for truth and meaning. Here we don't expect to think alike, but to love alike. We invite you to join us in seeking truth and sharing love with our neighbors. My name is Bill Brink, and I'm one of the trustees. If you're a guest with us today, we invite you to simply enjoy being with us. You're welcome to join us after the service for refreshments and conversation.
Good morning. Good morning. How's everyone's summer going?
Sure.
I know, really fast. I know today really doesn't feel like summer at all. It feels like early fall, which actually in traditional Chinese medicine, this is its own season, neither summer nor fall. So I guess we're right where we need to be. My name's Jo, for those of you who don't know me. I'm usually here on Tuesdays leading Tai Chi classes, but sometimes I'm here on Sundays talking about different topics, often traditional Chinese medicine related. And I went to a conference. I was gifted with the opportunity to go to a research conference this spring on sort of the mind-body connection in Tai Chi and Qigong, really centered around whole body wellness. So it's not really about Tai Chi and Qigong. It's more about whole body and our health span. And I wanted to share some of the research findings with you and some of the topics, because it's really information that I think can be taken out of the realm of Chinese medicine and can apply to us every single day. So hopefully you find some useful information in what I've got to share. We'll also do a little, as you know, if I'm here, I'm going to make you move around a little bit. We're going to do a really simple walking. I don't even want to call it an exercise. We're going to walk really simply later with this sort of whole body, mind, body mindset. So we'll play around with that and see how that goes. To start off today, I wanted to share, we're not going to do a separate meditation, but I wanted to share this reading that's a meditation from the Essene Book of Meditations and Blessings by Danan Perry. This is for the season of Beltane, which is what we're in right now. So for the month of August. And this is for Sunday, and I thought this was pretty fitting for today. This is the meditation. I feel my body become the earth, the richness and the rock. From my scant depth of dark topsoil spring the fruits for all. But rock am I as well as soil, and at my center flows the fire of molten mystery that was kindled long ago. What consciousness began that fire, bringing me to now? And we are going to sing number 188, Come, Come, Whoever You Are.
And Brian's going to play it through once, and then we will sing it through twice.
You can come up.
And I can come up.
Come,
That's such a short one. I wanted to keep going on. When I was thinking about readings for today, there's so many good ones, but I kept having this song, familiar song, pop into my head. I Sing the Body Electric. It just kept popping into my head over and over again. So I decided to look it up and get a little information. And I had forgotten that it was originally a Walt Whitman poem. That's, I think, where the song was originally inspired from. So you have some homework, because I'm not going to read the poem because it's quite long, to go home and look up the Walt Whitman version of I Sing the Body Electric, because it's quite different from what I'm going to share with you right now, but equally interesting. What I wanted to share with you were the lyrics for I Sing the Body Electric, written by Laura Dean, and maybe you know it from the musical Fame, sung by Irene Cara beautifully. And it really captures this idea of energy, which I love to talk about, and that we're more than just our body, and we connect with everything around us. So here are the lyrics, and I will try not to sing them, I promise. I sing the body electric. I celebrate the me yet to come. I toast to my own reunion when I become one with the sun. And I'll look back on Venus, I'll look back on Mars, and I'll burn with the fire of 10 million stars. And in time, we will all be stars. I sing the body electric. I glory in the glow of rebirth, creating my own tomorrow when I shall embody the earth. And I'll serenade Venus, I'll serenade Mars, and I'll burn with the fire of 10 million stars. And in time, we will all be stars. We are the emperors now, and we are the czars. And in time, we will all be stars. I sing the body electric. I celebrate the me yet to come. I toast to my own reunion when I become one with the stars. And I'll look back on Venus. I'll look back on Mars. I'll burn with the fire of 10 million stars. And in time, we will all be stars. I hope that you go home and look that up and play the very dated Fame version of that song, because it's rocks out and it's pretty wonderful. All right, affirmation.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I invite you now to say the affirmation of this church with me, which is up there on the back of your order of service or in your memories. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve the needs of all beings, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the divine. Thus do we covenant with each other and with the source of our being. Next is our offering, and having spaced it out on our last service, it was the first Sunday, and which is when we do the share the plate. So we're going to do it on the third Sunday instead this time. And this month it's going to the Social Action Circle has chosen CASP, the Community Asylum Seekers Project, for our August donation. CASP helps people living in southern Vermont who are from Honduras, Colombia, Mexico, Ghana, Senegal, Russia, Afghanistan, and Cuba. They connect clients to social services and legal resources, facilitate community integration, and empower them to achieve independence and self-sufficiency, which I think is needed more than ever right now. So give generously.
Everyone see that? Great. All right. So this conference that I went to, let me tell you a little bit about it. Actually, first, let me tell you what we're going to do today. Well, I'll go through the details of the conference and then go through just a few of the many topics that were discussed at the conference. Most notably, this idea of whole person health and health span versus lifespan, the difference between those two. We'll talk a little bit about the brain, a little bit about dual tasking that doesn't just happen in Tai Chi, but that happens elsewhere in our lives and how you can maybe work some of that in if you're not already doing it. I always want to talk about the energy of community when I'm here. And then I want to mention a little bit about Fall Prevention Awareness Month and a few things that are going on this September before we move around a little bit. All right. So the subtext of this conference at Harvard Medical School, it happens every 2 years, is deepening our physiological understanding of mind-body integration. So it's very sort of Eastern sounding, right? This conference was right at the end of April. It was hosted by the Osher Center for Integrative Health, who's doing a lot of really wonderful research in this area. And there were folks from all over the world at this conference, 35 states and 15 countries. Lots of foundation support. The National Institutes of Health is a big supporter of both of this conference and of the research that's done to support this conference. Really felt good to be surrounded by all these really intelligent, interesting people. And this is my colleague, Lisa, Tai Chi Vermont teacher also, who went with me. This idea of whole person health is that the whole of us is greater than the sum of our individual parts. You know, we have this idea that health of our body is the absence of disease, which is true, but it goes well beyond that. And it's not just physical. It has a lot to do with other parts of what make us a human walking around on this earth. And a lot of it has to do with psychosocial activities and supports. And I'll get a little more into that as we keep talking. Really, the context of each of us is what's important. We're not just a body with all the parts or maybe missing some parts standing in front of another body. There's much that goes into creating what makes us a human, which is really kind of interesting. You know, everything from cells and organ systems to, do you have transportation? Do you have money? Do you have insurance? Do you have support at home to take care of you? All of these things create us as a human. This image really encompasses what we're talking about here. This is from the traditional Chinese medicine book, Between Heaven and Earth. And it's capturing this idea that each of us is like a garden and has a garden within us. And our healthcare folks, which could be everything from a doctor to a physical trainer to a nutritionist, all those people act as gardeners tending to the garden within us. It's a unified system. There are many different parts to it, and it's complex, but it's its own unique organism. Really kind of beautiful idea. Again, a very Eastern idea of looking at the human body. And this quote is also from that book, and it really hits home to what we're talking about here. Instead of treating a specific disease, whole person health focuses on restoring health, promoting resilience, which is a big thing when we talk about frailty, and preventing diseases, important last three words, across a lifespan. So it's not just a snapshot in time, it's how long can we keep ourselves, not just here on the planet, but functioning members of society, living healthfully, health span. So health span is different than lifespan, and we'll get into this a little bit here. About 80% of health and well-being factors are outside of medical care, and those are the things I talked about before. Does this person have transportation? Do they have a safe home? Do they have a support system at home? What else gets that person to their appointment with their healthcare person, where they're checked out to see if they have a disease? There's a lot more that goes into that. It's been thought and actually studied, I guess I probably have the correct study here. High levels of social support reduce the relative risk for mortality by 25%. So 25% difference improvement when somebody has social support in terms of a caregiver or a family surrounding them that can get them through a disease or a health challenge. Wayne Jonas was one of the presenters at the conference, and he talked about this new concept in taking notes. You know, your doctor takes notes when you go to visit them. And normally those things are called a SOAP note. Let's see if I get it right. Subjective, objective assessment and plan is what that stands for. So your doctor makes a plan for what's going to happen to make you get well. And Wayne Jonas looked at instead turning that into a hope note, healing-oriented practices and environments. So what else, again, beyond this person sitting in front of me, what else does this person need, or what do they have that supports their being healthy? You know, do they have to cross a busy street to get here? You know, are they taking care of younger family members, and that's a challenge for them? There's a lot more for each of us in our story of being healthy than a beating heart and standing on two legs. It goes well beyond that. It's been researched that 9 out of 12 months of the average person's lifespan are considered disabled months. Obviously, as you get older, your health challenges do increase. But what we're looking at is having this be flipped so that 9 out of 10, 12 months of a lifespan are healthy months, are times when you're able to walk around and do the things that you want to do. This is where the idea of health span comes into it. We want to extend the amount of time that you're considered healthy and enjoying your life and happy and not just going to medical appointments all the time. So some of the other things that are not so physiological that we're talking about when we talk about health span are on this slide here. Psychological things, safety, belongingness and love, your esteem, how you feel about yourself, self-actualization, are you able to make a goal and attain a goal, as big or small as that may be? And then self-transcendence, can you appreciate things beyond just you? Can you appreciate connecting with others and with the environment and world around you? So kind of big stuff. The brain was a big part of all of this. Really can't separate the brain from the body. The WHO has researched that brain-related disability is considered a critical threat for human society. When we look at things like depression and other things that are keeping people almost locked in their own bodies or locked in their own homes, these are things that are helping to create a shorter health span for many people. Right now, brain diseases are the #1 cause of human disabilities, and there are many of them, and they affect 1 in every 2 people when you look at caregivers as well. Caregivers have a little soft spot for me. I've worked with caregivers for many years. I was one myself, still am, and they're often sort of overlooked when it comes to, we talk about the hope note, when we talk about looking at a patient in a healthcare setting, often that caregiver isn't looked at all. And the hope note wants to take that caregiver into consideration and look at it as part of that little mini universe of the person who comes in for treatment. Aging is the #1 contributor to brain-related disability, but it's not necessarily the cause. Just because we get older, these mind-body folks say, our brain does not need to disintegrate and weaken and get quiet. In fact, we can train our brain to stay active, which can help us in other areas, not necessarily brain-related. It can actually help us in our body to be healthier. And that's some of the research that's being done by some of these very smart people. So looking specifically at Tai Chi, because that's the area that I know well and that this conference was focused on, here's something, just as a snapshot, here's some ways that Tai Chi can help. First of all, we know that it reduces the rates of falls by 19% and the number of people who experience falls by 20%. So already it's keeping you on your feet, upright, confident, I would say healthier. But here's why all of that happens. So the little list on the left here, sensory input, spinal reflexes, supraspinal control, and force output. Those are all the physical things that are happening when you're going through a Tai Chi practice. That supraspinal control is where your brain is working with your body. And it's doing that in a variety of ways. Again, talking about Tai Chi first. Your attention, you really got to stay present and know where you are within the form when you're moving. Your working memory, what comes next, what comes next, what comes next. You have to remember the sequence. In terms of inhibition, you kind of have to block out the things that don't matter, the distractions in the other room, the person next to you who's maybe doing it wrong and you know that it's done a different way. You have to very much focus. And then planning, that again, that idea of what comes next and how I'm going to move. What kind of step will I take here? Because I know in the next couple of moments, I'm going to look like this. So it's a lot going on in your brain as you're moving your body as well. And you do this, to take it out of Tai Chi, you do this throughout your day on your own too. You could probably come up with your own examples of when you're doing stuff like this. And I'm not talking about multitasking when we're doing 15, and I'm the biggest guilty person of this. You're trying to do 15 things at once and you're thinking of all these things and you're moving around and you're distracted. It's a little bit different than that. We're doing this in a focused, organized way. So Tai Chi is wonderful for that. And Qigong as well. One of the things we talk about a lot in Tai Chi and Qigong are breathing and brain activity and synchronizing those two things together. If you do, yoga, if you do any sort of weightlifting, many different physical practices, you're coordinating your breathing with your movement. So this has been shown to make changes, positive changes in your autonomic system, which has direct neuroplastic effects on the brain. And these changes don't just happen during your practice. When you leave your practice and go out into the world, you're implementing these things that your body has learned, which is pretty cool. You don't need to specifically think about it. So the up arrow, the things that improve your parasympathetic system tone. A lot of times people talk about feeling calmer, feeling more relaxed. You don't have to work on that. That sort of just happens on its own. Your lung capacity increases, cardiorespiratory health, oxygenation in your body, and again, as a result, cognition and attention. You are working on it here in class, just like when we did in school, and then that helps in other areas of your life as well. And the down arrow, sympathetic system tone, you know, people talk about, again, that idea of getting calmer, being not as reactive to things that might set them off. Inflammation in your body is thought to go down. It's actually been shown to go down. Stress response also. So certain things are good. The good things are going up, and the things we want to reduce are going down. All right, this idea of dual tasking. Dual tasking is doing something with your body, so doing something physical while you're doing something with your brain. And specific studies have been done in Tai Chi and Qigong where certain practices are done, certain physical practices are done, and then we add in spelling at the same time, maybe while we're holding one leg up in the air. Or some of you are familiar with wave hands in clouds, a specific movement. And this was one that I thought we could, we're not doing this, don't worry. That would be useful, is counting up by threes, which I hate math, so that would be really hard for me. But you're doing something that's quite repetitive and that your body knows how to do, and your brain is working. And you don't do this all the time, every single time, because I think you drive yourself and all of your friends crazy. But every once in a while, it's a little practice that you can do to see how your brain and body are working together. And I think, again, probably in our regular lives, we have examples of this sort of thing anyway. And I don't want to say your brain is ruminating and you're running down the street or something. You are using your brain while your body is doing something that it knows inherently. So we're just taking that really and applying it to Tai Chi or applying it to Qigong or a different type of movement. And this dual tasking sees incredible improvements when it comes to research. There are smartphone apps that some research is being done to track people's cognition and their movements, and to see if both their brain and their physicality improve, and we're seeing improvements in all of those areas. So lots more research to come with that. But you might want to think about some ways that you can dual task. Doing something your body knows how to do, like just walking, and maybe you're reciting a poem to yourself while you're walking. So even something like that can be dual tasking. Can be fun to come up with some ideas for that. I wanted to, I'm looking at the time. I might have time to show you some of this. The closing of the conference really talked about taking these ideas of energy and connection. And the conference was about working within your body or someone's body, health within their own body, and expanding it outward into the idea of community, because it's the same type of connection in a community. So I'm going to see, I didn't tell June I was going to do this. I'm going to see if I can switch over to bear with me. I want to show you a little video. Where do I want to go? No, hold on. Hold on, hold on. Okay, so the first one. Nope, that's not the one I want. This one. I'm going to change. This is a video on X. I'm just going to give you a little piece of this. So these ball bearings are put in oil, and then an electric current is added to them, and they miraculously hook up. It's really cool. So instead of the ball bearings all just sitting in a pile in this oil, when electricity is added, they connect to each other. They want to hold hands with each other. This has been repeated again and again. And to me, it really shows the idea of organization in a body. When you see things line up in a organized way, I can't stop using that word, in your body, that would bring about a system of health. And when you see the same sort of thing happen in a community in a larger sense, that would create health within a community. So that's a pretty cool experiment that was shown. This other one, another experiment.
Where does the electric come?
They like plug it in.
In a community, what would be the electric?
Energy.
Oh, energy.
Energy of, somebody saying, let's go, hey, let's start something. Hey, do we want to go help these folks over here? Do we want to take a collection and help these folks who need a little support? And then that way it's sort of like we're all in a way holding hands or joining up together. Yeah. This experiment is a bunch of metronomes. They're set up on 2 cans and a board, and they're all going differently to start. And so over time, it takes a little time, the metronomes start to coordinate with each other, which is really cool. It doesn't happen unless, see how it's on these 2 cans on the bottom, and so they're rocking back and forth slightly. It only happens when they can communicate to each other through this board and these cans underneath them. But that's pretty cool. So our last 2 speakers, Helene Langevin and Martin Picard, talked about these different experiments, which I thought really reflected what goes on in a society, the whole person health idea applied to a society. And the last example that I love is there's been studies done that when a person is handed a cup of something, if that cup is cold, the person's grateful, it's fine, a cold liquid. When that person is handed a cup of something warm, there's this feeling of joy and connection, and they seem to integrate better with the person who handed them the cup. So there's something in this idea of warmth that connects people together, which is pretty interesting. I wouldn't say that in the middle of July during a heat wave here, but in November when we're chilly and you hand somebody a cup of coffee or a cocoa, there's that little coziness that happens. And so it's been studied and researched, and it is a real thing. So I thought those ideas were kind of cool.
So does that say anything about people that live in an environment that's cold versus?
Yes, so I was here last fall, talking about Norway and some of those folks who live in those cold regions, and the idea of coziness. And what is that all about and why, what is it about these candles and warm blankets and warm sweaters? Why does it have this feeling of connection? We don't exactly know, but yes, it's been studied that those folks are happier, seemingly healthier. We learn they also have a better healthcare systems and some of the social systems and some of that sort of thing. But which came first too would be my question there. Takes a little research, but yeah, you're exactly right. Yeah, good, Brian. All right, so let me keep going here. I'm always here during this time of year talking about fall protection, Fall Prevention Awareness Month in September. It's fall, but we don't want to fall. So a couple of things coming up. Beginner Tai Chi starts September 8th and goes through November 3rd. So it's 8 weeks. It's free. It's here Tuesdays 10 to 11. We'll be doing the Bafa Wubu form, which is considered the new beginner form in China. It's like a little Whitman sampler of many different forms. And the whole first part of it, you don't even move your feet. So you can do it seated, which is really useful. And then Fall Prevention Awareness Day, Tuesday, the 22nd, 10 to 11:30. This time we're going to do it in the Great Hall. Sue Rubel, my counterpart teacher here in Springfield, and I are going to switch back and forth between here and the Great Hall for our events. And so this one will be at the Great Hall. It's free. We'll do some playing around with some movements, and there'll be refreshments and just a nice little social time. So come to any of those. They'll also be online and recorded if you can't make it in person. All right, so I'm going to stop sharing. And I just wanted to go through a really simple movement practice. I don't even want to call it an exercise that we can do. If you want to join me, we're just going to stand up in any of the closest aisles that work for you. I'm going to turn my mic here. Otherwise, you can sit and watch, whatever you want to do. So first of all, we talk about this quite a lot in class. We're only going to take a few steps one direction, turn around a few steps back. Let's walk like you're walking down a hall. Nothing special. What's it like when you walk around? So just maybe walk around a couple steps, maybe turn around and walk back. And we're walking slowly and we're trying to not bump into each other here. So maybe we're being a little more controlled than we normally be. I'm gonna take another round. You can do if you want. A couple steps. So when we do that, I don't know if you notice, but some of us, our heads are down or, down like this, head forward position. Again, I am really bad at that head forward thing and not really thinking about anything, just kind of plopping along, nothing special, right? And your head is probably elsewhere. So let's change things up and bring this into a whole body idea here instead of just feet moving. Find a comfortable place for your feet. So they're maybe about shoulder width apart. To start, let's anchor ourselves and think about you having a dragon tail or a kangaroo tail. So you're sinking down and back a little bit, which might mean that your knees bend a little bit, you're a little soft here. Everything kind of drops down. This is very opposite of the military stance that we've often been taught to stand up straight and pull in your gut. Opposite of that. Relax and settle down into your nice bent knees. I'm going to show you a little kickstand that we can do before we step. Feel free to put a hand on a chair or a wall if you're feeling a little wobbly and want a little more support if I start to go on and on with my talking. I'm going to pour my weight into my left foot. I'm also going to hike up my skirt a little bit here. And I'm bringing my right foot somewhere near my left arch, just like a little kickstand. And I'm gonna turn so you can see what that looks like. Weights in my left foot, my right foot's just kickstanding. This is what it looks like from the back. Now, straighten the right knee and put your heel out. It's like your foot is acting like a scout before you take any step. When you're ready, start to shift weight onto that right foot. We're going to stay right here and shift back. And that toe might come up. So as you're shifting forward and back, we'll just do this for a little bit. Notice how that front foot, the right foot, starts to accept the weight. You might feel the outer edge of that right foot. You might feel the ball of the foot land and the toes. It's really a whole experience. You're not just plopping that right foot down. All right, we're gonna bring the weight onto the right foot. I'm gonna hike up again. Let's touch in with the left foot, little kickstand. And then extend the right foot, so the left foot, so the heel comes out. And mindfully shift the weight onto the left foot. We'll only rock back and forth a couple times here. Rock back. So you're taking your time to pour your weight forward and back. Pour your weight forward. And you can either touch in, like we've been doing, or take a slow step forward with the right foot, starting with the heel down first. So now you're walking is slower, first of all, but you're landing with your heel and you're peeling your foot off. Nice and slow. And you can go around, or you can just explore the weight forward and back. So this is a much different experience than when we're plopping down a hallway at top speed, thinking about our grocery list and it, right? That's me, I do that all the time. But this is a different way of moving. And as I joke with Bill all the time, you're not gonna do this in the co-op with a line of people behind you in the produce section. But maybe you take a couple of steps at home, maybe in your kitchen or whatever, in this really mindful way, just to connect, bring your whole body into the experience, and really noticing how you feel. Bill's gonna crash through the front row with Brian right behind him. So that is a very, very basic start to learning about Tai Chi walking. Some of you may have gotten or may have seen advertisements about Tai Chi walking online, and it says you're going to get a six-pack and you're going to, I don't know, win $1 million and all this stuff, and it has these beautiful AI people. That's not going to happen. It's lovely, but it's not going to happen. But it will help you engage your brain, be less frail. We know that there's been a lot of studies done on frailty. It really has a big improvement on your overall health when you do this. There have also been studies done. They were studies that were shared at this conference as well, that people who do Tai Chi move slower. And so you hear that, oh, they move slower. That doesn't sound so good. No, it's because they're really being mindful about how they're walking. A difference between they're frail and they need to hang on and they're not feeling confident on their feet. So I encourage you to do that sort of thing. You could turn it into a dual tasking experience by reciting some song lyrics as you're doing it or something like that, if you really wanted to amp it up a little bit. So thank you for playing with me. I thought that was pretty good. Anybody have anything to share, ask about when it comes to whole person health or any of that stuff?
So I go to the Tai Chi classes. And I started out in the exercise class, but it really, you don't use up a lot of calories. You can sit in a chair and do it. It really is, a lot of it has to do with brain function. That's what I find, the imbalance and that sort of thing, so.
Yeah, for sure.
She makes you like rub your tummy.
And not like I can do, oh yeah, and then, I mean, we did some of,
Stuff like that, yeah.
we did some brain stuff in our yoga class on Friday, which I think I'm gonna start to bring into Tai Chi. Certain movements, when you do them across your body, cross patterning helps draw connections across the hemispheres of your brain. Tony and I, we did that when you were in class too, when you were having trouble memorizing sequence. And so if we do a little bit of brain work before we do a sequence, that can sometimes help us remember things. So yeah, it is a lot of brain stuff. It's fun. It's fun. Thanks. Anything else? Thanks so much for playing along. Yeah, I know you're all good for being good sports with that sort of thing. Let's see if, I just want to make sure there's nothing in the chat. Okay, great. We are going on to number 6, just as long as I have breath. If you have your know with you, number 651, we'll get that ready. Again, I was looking for readings that sort of captured this idea of whole body health, not just in our own bodies, but as we relate to others in community, which is so important. And then as we connect to the rest of the universe as well. So if you would indulge me once again with joining me on the italicized parts of this piece by Norman Cousins. The body is humankind, so it's number 651. I am a single cell in a body of 4 billion cells. The body is humankind. I am a single cell. My needs are individual, but they are not unique. I am interlocked with other human beings in the consequences of our actions, thoughts, and feelings. I will work for human unity and human peace, for a moral order and harmony with the order of the universe. Together we share the quest for a society of the whole equal to our needs. A society in which we need not live beneath our moral capacity and in which justice has a life of its own. We are single cells in a body of 4 billion cells. The body is humankind.